Hey everyone, welcome to Venus and Pluto. This is the inaugural reading. So, my name is Tony. I have another tarot channel called The Abstractionist. I do planetary readings there and then different perspectives, sometimes live book reviews and stuff like that. Anyway, so I decided to make a love based channel basically because I just wanted to explore it. Um, as a perpetual single, I got into tarot because of love readings and all that jazz, and I just wanted to kind of read for people in that way. So, yeah, this is why I started the channel. So, Venus and Pluto is basically an aspect in my chart. So I have a Venus in Taurus opposed Pluto in Scorp. I'm a Pluto in Scorp generation, so there's that, and that's where we get the title from. This is the inaugural reading. I used to do readings like this on my Abstractionist channel, but I decided to specifically devote this channel to love and all of that, blah, 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 blah. So what we're going to do is a helix reading. Basically, it's two parties. They're going to crisscross, and they're going to end over there. And yeah, I'm just going to show you guys. Let me change the tarot cloth because these cards are fairly big. I don't like these edges, and I'm kind of obsessed with like making it look better. So hold on for a sec. Okay, I changed it. So we're gonna have an archetypes card. That's the Carolyn Mize archetype cards. I have another archetype deck upstairs. So we're gonna do this. Then we're gonna do that side over there. I'll do 1 and 1, please. I don't know. So we're gonna do 1 and 1. Okay, let's switch them because they say switch them. Move these boxes there. Okay. Too much movement. Just cleanse these cards. Too much. Okay. So this is a love reading, relationship reading. So it doesn't have to be necessarily romantic love, but you know, if the shoe fits for you, then the shoe fits for you, right? Okay. And I'm going to timestamp it to when the reading actually starts because this is clearly taking a lot. Okay, we got 2 for this person down here. And then I have, so this deck, well, the one with the blue is the Kai Tarot Love. Then we have the archetype cards, if you're interested. And then Box of Emotions, which is cards as well. I'm gonna take my shirt or my cardigan off because it's hot as fuck out here. Okay. And then we're gonna do one of these. All right, cool. This one we'll do kind of like towards the end or whatever. Anyway, so let's get started, shall we? Let's get started. So you would have to figure out which one you are here. Okay. We got the archetype Samaritan with the 9 of Swords reversed. Rescuer, Page of Wands, Hermit, Chariot, Ten of Cups, Eight of Pentacles, Three of Cups, Death, Nine of Cups, and then they're ending on this. Judge, okay, Storyteller. So this person's rescuer goes up here, ends down there. Samaritan goes down here, ends up there. So it's a helix in that way. A rough helix. Okay, so took me forever to set this up, didn't it? All right. Okay, all right, so you have a relationship that is bound clearly clearly by someone having issues that they're seeking attention for. So basically someone out there is maybe like this relationship started off like someone's having a hard time in life, or they're very nascent with regards to their life journey or some life journey, and then they meet this person who is a Samaritan who has very few cares in the world, very few like issues going on, very few I think expressed concerns. They're very cool, calm, collected. This person over here, maybe a little bit short-tempered, frustrated, stuff like that. This Samaritan, there's something about the way the Samaritan communicates that once they start to communicate, I think they kind of impart a little bit of how can I say this? I feel like the reason why on some level this person has very few cares and concerns is because they throw them off on someone else. So I just feel like for the Samaritan, even though this one seems like a little bit better energy as far as like they have a lot to give, they're very generous, they're very diplomatic, they're good in their career, they're good in their relationships, they're good and stuff like that, but there's something about how they communicate that like trauma dumps almost and causes concern. But I don't think that this relationship would be fully recognized until like after it's over. So this is somebody who like gets into relationships where they deal with people who are all together only to realize when the relationship is over that this person had like a lot of like fucked up shit going on. And the reason why is because they push it off on other people or they procrastinate, but I think it's more push it off on other people, or it's not that they blame their childhood and stuff like that, but they just push it off on other like people. And what I mean by that is not like they don't necessarily blame other people, but they try to convince other people perhaps that because they try to dump it on other people who they feel like could take the load off a lot easier or have the capacity to do it a lot easier than them. So this person actually can really scope out people who are very good at helping other people. So they can help other people, but a lot of them they are very sparing with it. Like they use their ability to help people sparingly, but they seek out people who can actually give out a lot to others. So they may be someone who comes from a background where they like get helped a lot, but I think more like there's something for this to be like the page. This person is a lot more, I think, a little bit more grounded than this person. Even with the Nine of Swords reverse and all kind of stuff, this person is a little bit more grounded, even though they have the page. Now, this person could be like younger and they have their own issues. particularly with this rescuer and Page of Wands, may have grown up in an environment where they saw people get helped, and the person who does the helping, they're either like very young or they're very inexperienced, but they were put up to the task of having to help people who are very far along. So this relationship is kind of like a reflection for the rescuer and the Samaritan, in that the Samaritan finds other people that are way better at doing stuff than themselves, even though if they were to learn about themselves a little bit more, I think that's the journey they're going to be on, they would do really well. And then the rescuer is used to being the person who expends a lot of energy and tends to take on relationships that have far too much for them to handle and that they're inexperienced with. So this could be like somebody who has a partner that like they call, like say for example, they call to deal with like a credit card dispute, and then like you get roped into it somehow, and then somehow you end up just talking on the phone, and then it turns out to be like a way bigger issue than they were leading on, a way bigger expenditure of your time than they were letting on. You need more information. For some reason now they're like gone, they've gone out and they've gone to do whatever they want, and then you're stuck kind of dealing with this, and you may be absorbing the negative energy from the responses of other people who are kind of enraged that you don't know X, Y, and Z. This may lead you to question how well do you know people for you to be getting involved in like certain things, even if you're like in a full-blown relationship with them. It just seems like there's certain aspects of people that you don't know until like something random happens that usually you're entangled with, because they put you in this shit that you have to solve, that somehow like you have alone time with their issues and their problems and their thoughts, that you kind of realize like, I didn't know that this person was that far off. You may have extended a lot of money towards people, or just a lot of, like I said, a lot of helping energy to help people get on their feet, or just stuff like that. But it does seem like it's a lot of stuff that people, they don't deal with, and then they put it off on other people. So this could be like somebody who doesn't, because child, a lot of us have been there, including me. Well, they wait to the last minute when it comes to like example, like the creditors type thing. Like you wait to the last minute till something is damn near in foreclosure to kind of get on it. But by that time, like the people you rope in don't know exactly how far along you are in that process, right? And then like if you push it off on them, they're left to deal with like the aftermath of what the fuck is going on. But they are inequipped to do it because they're not you, so they don't know the information, or they're not them. They don't know the information, and then like they have their own stuff that they're trying to deal with, and there's a muddying of issues. So you may have a lot of leakages with people, and you may have a lot of people around you that have parallel lives. But the reason why they're parallel is because you have no boundaries. So there's no boundaries between like the rescuer and like the Samaritan. The Samaritan freely gives their problems. They're a good Samaritan in that regard. Like they freely give, but they freely give their problems. Now they're not a bad person. The Samaritan is not a bad person. They're not a bad person. I think if they were to start off like the Samaritan and then end up the judge, they'll end up with a lot more of a solid base of who they are and what they can handle and what they can outsource to deal with stuff, right? So there's that. We move to the hermit space. This may have been a point where someone has like broken contact. What I mean by that is they just kind of basically ignore the calls. Probably the rescuer. It could be the Samaritan, because the Samaritan could be like trying to solve issues, or there's something that triggered within this relationship. There may have been something said that triggered like a dissolution of the relationship, or at least a pause or a break, where the rescuer is reflecting on the ability to show up for themselves as opposed to other people, and what that means for showing up for other people as opposed to themselves. and what that means for them to have a proper give and take. They could have seen a lot of withdrawal of affection or attention when other people don't get their way. And that's something that could be driving them to kind of, as a child, like very, like seek a lot of like attention from them, from the other party that they feel like has gone silent. Now, the Samaritan could have had something like said to them, and it could have been this rescuer person, or it could have been like a parent, or it could have been like an older adult, or somebody from the outside looking in, but someone who's close enough to them that their opinion matters. I don't get that the Samaritan considers a lot of people's opinions to begin with. I just don't think that at all. But there may have been something that like sat them down, and they start to think about their their issues with regards to that, and so they may have gone silent. And it's almost like, in some ways, sometimes the Samaritan gets seen as ill-equipped or unevolved or unwilling to evolve, or there's kind of a story on the Samaritan that they'll never evolve. And so they may have chronically disappointed a lot of people. And with this hermit, I feel like they have something just a little bit to prove with regards to their relationships and how they act. Like, this person may have been very disappointing in many aspects of the relationship. I don't really get cheating, but I do get a lot of like boundaries broken as far as like entertaining other things and entertaining other people, but like not necessarily physically cheating. I think this person is an emotional cheater more than anything, right? More than anything, I think this is an emotional cheater. So the rescuer has to take time and stock of their own life. This idea of people who cut them off when they don't get what they want, or like try to shame them into it, or try to isolate them, or make them feel like they're kind of weird for not putting out this energy towards other people, right? We have the 10 of Cups for this rescuer. Moving into that, there may be just a really good period of like, you don't care. You're like very carefree. You don't call anybody, you don't text anybody. And it may be like very interesting that you don't receive any messages either. So you may be like, okay, like I'm expecting like calls and shit like that. Like, you may have gone within, and then you expect people to, or expect this person to like call you and like need you for something, and then like it's silent, and so you're kind of like, what's what's happening, like what's happening, um like why don't they? And there may be a lot of like confusion about that, but there's a happiness that comes with this like 10 of Cups. Like, okay, cool, like I can focus on my own stuff. You may be very behind on a lot of projects that you need, very behind on a lot of things that you who wanted to do, and you may have put your life on the back burner for other people. So this may be somebody who like, they were in a relationship and they were trying to do something like quite serious with their life, and you decided to put your support behind this other person, maybe because they seem like they're, maybe this is someone's older than the other, and so the person who's older seemed like they're further ahead in their career, but it kind of turns out the person has very underdeveloped ideas, and then the time you went to support them, you could have been doing your own shit, to be honest. And so you finally have the time to do that. You may be coming back online with friends, family, associates, stuff like that. This person may have been very careless about your relationships in your professional setting. So not respecting boundaries, kind of maybe throwing temper tantrums and stuff like that. On the very, very low scale, kind of vindictive about that. If you're supposed to go to events together, canceling last minute, or, there's a dress code, violating that, or, they go, but they complain the entire time about you and whatever, or you find them over at the bar talking to someone else the whole time, like stuff like that, or trying to turn attention to them. This person, even though it has Samaritan, I just feel like they are very much not thinking about consequences for stuff like that. Anyway, that's been the pattern. So for them with this thing, they move on. So this person actually could, once you guys dissolve, move on from you into something else. On some level, there may be a realization from them, and you may get a text about this, that they feel like they would rather be alone. Um, they would rather be alone than like reconcile, and that may be very surprising to you because this person may have had a pattern of like always coming back, spinning the block or whatever they say, to check in or to ask for stuff. But this person, I think, if this clicks very well for them, then they I'm going to get to this. There's a little bit of anger here at the end. But they may progress so fast beyond this relationship that it's kind of crazy. Now, this person may also, on the other side, take this relationship break quite like badly and seek other people and other pleasures and go full force with that. So it's two things. They could kind of fall back and kind of be cool in relationships and kind of be glad also like you that they can move on with their life and just whatever, split whatever energy up, and you take yours and I take mine and that's it, and they move on. Or they could dive headfirst into another relationship to get over this one, and they may be a little bit harsh with their communication about they're in another relationship. So if you ever attempted to contact this person and you didn't get anything, that is a likely thing. So share energy, Eight of Pentacles. For you, working on your like stability, I really think this is a person who had a long established relationship. This may have been like 1 to 3 years, 5 years at the most for this relationship span. But you may have put years like 2 through the end of the relationship or near the end of the relationship into this person, and it's time to really put the energy into what you were doing, why you're doing it, establishing your connections. You may find in your phone book, phone contacts, whatever, numbers of people who like who you need to reconnect with, who have professional connections for you to move on. There may be some emails that you've missed, overlooked, or something like that. For some of you, your email was tampered with and now you finally gotten it back. I hesitate to say if it was this person or not. But if you're dealing with the lower octave of this person, then they definitely may have tampered with your communication outward to people, or like, if you share a computer or something like that, like they saw some emails and they diverted them to spam or something like that, somewhere that they know you're not gonna like go to, or they clicked to them, I'm not interested. Those like auto reply things, like I'm not interested at the bottom or whatever. And you're finding that information out. And so if you have suffered professionally or like just in relationships, like your family, stuff like that, like if these have taken like a back burner, you are finally making this like work for you. So you're finally making this work for you. Now for this Chariot, they're working on their thing. This person, if they don't have really good coping mechanisms, they may be out partying, drinking, drugging, it don't matter, doing what they want to do. They may be getting loose lips and talking like shit and stuff like that, about the relationship, or this person may not have the best coping mechanisms when things break up. So on the surface, hold on for a second, I got my cap. I'm at okay. On the surface, this person may come across as like just cool and calm and all this kind of stuff. But underneath, I feel like this person secretly like seethes when they don't get their way, and they could be very salty about it. So the tide is like turning. This person may be very like upset about the situation. Even if they broke it off with you, there could be an energy of like, I was helping them out, I was helping them to grow, I was helping them to do X, Y, and Z, and it's just like, what? Whatever. So they were trying to do that. So we end for them with the Judge and the Three of Cups. So the thing with them is, I think they end this relationship, or y'all end this kind of relationship, this cycle, this timeline thread with them kind of, I don't want to say staying static. I think that if they do grow, it's going to take at least 3 to 5 years beyond the end of the relationship for them to like get it. But I think that they, like, when they get it, they'll get it. They'll have to go through their own process of like judging themselves harshly and stuff like that. But for right now, I think they are making it seem to everyone that they made a judgment call, and they could have made a judgment call on the relationship, with regards to how they were going to entertain it, and they weren't going to entertain it anymore because they had better things to do, better things to work on. Like I said, there could have been somebody else that caught their eye that they were just like, I'd rather go over there and deal with them than this. And there may have been something about work, trying to make the relationship work, or like requirements of work to progress the relationship forward, like trying counseling or something like that, that they were just like, they just bailed on it. And I think they never wanted to do that kind of stuff. They are very inflexible, and they kind of always had this fixed idea about the relationship and where it was going to go and where it was going to end up. I don't think this person saw this being marriage material. I think this person saw it as like a cohabitation thing where they would be there, and then like if you go through your rough patches, they would like dip out and then come back when they felt like it, or whatever, when they felt like you had calmed down enough. So they, for the most part, they're like good. They're just gonna go off and do whatever. They're gonna go and do whatever with whoever. And then there's that. And then, like I said, like in a few years, maybe up to 5 years, it'll catch up with them and they'll figure it out or whatever. And they might take on this very self-deprecating kind of role to kind of like repent for what they did. Now you, with the rescuer going up to 10 of cups, going here, you have death and 9 of cups. So this relationship was very soul-sucking in many regards, but it was like almost, I wouldn't say a religion, but it was like a fixation where this person was like the center of your center of your existence or whatever. And it's because I think this person's older or like more mature, supposedly farther along or whatever. And then you're like, okay, cool, like I can learn a lot, you know. I think we all been in relationships, not just romantic, perpetual single over here, so just relationships in general for me, but relationships where like people are farther along in their career and stuff like that. So you're like, yeah, wow, like cool. And then you get to like get closer to them and you start to see, perhaps you idolize this person. This could have been a relationship that started like really young. Like I don't see teen years. I see like early 20s. And then like by the time you're mid 20s, like rolled around, you kind of like, what? And then it like dissolved. This person also needed to shift away from you, it seems like, so they could figure out what they wanted and what they were interested in, and kind of figure out where they were going to go and how they were going to judge their story and how they were going to experience life going forward. I think I don't think you guys share a child. If you do, then like it'll bring you guys together. Like I don't see this person as being vindictive. I just kind of feel like they are, for the most part right now, like disinterested, you know? So I would keep that in mind. Anyway, motion card, desire. That's the card. So you may have desired this person a lot. You may have desired a relationship with them, or desired this idea of them, desired this idea of how the relationship would work out, desire of them fixing their problems at some point. Like you wanted that to work out so great. And this person, unfortunately, may have been the person that like you invested in, and they invest with someone else and they end up being like pretty okay with that person, or like the next person after that or whatever. And then you're kind of like, you may have to work through the idea of like being a placeholder, so to speak, with people. So there's that. But yeah, desire. Whether we covet a person or an object or something intangible like fame or glory, people have long recognized the dangers of being gripped by desire. It was a long time since I had longed for anything, wrote Samuel Beckett, and the effect on me was horrible. Perhaps it's because desire runs so close to fear that it can feel so uncomfortable. The habit among theologians, doctors, and even sexologists to attribute our desires to some other part of ourselves, something the devil sent, or the product of a diseased mind, or even a biological instinct, may be partly a response to how uncomfortable longing can be. Perhaps our urges frighten us because they may lead us astray, hurting those we love and disrupting the status quo. Perhaps we suspect we idealize the desired object and fear the tumult will create. Part of what makes desire so hard to tolerate is the frustration and disappointment which so often come with it. But perhaps more hidden is its shame, the way longing for someone exposes us, forcing us to admit we like something that we don't already have and can't easily obtain. And I think that may be the center of the relationship for both of you, that this person desired the ability to do certain things in terms of helping other people and being there for other people and showing up for other people. And then you desire this perhaps like not progressive mind, but like this progression or perceived progression from this person. And that is what linked you guys. And so, in some way, perhaps both were using the other, like each was using the other to fulfill some needs, perhaps rooted in childhood, particularly for the rescuer. I think the Samaritan, I don't know if the Samaritan grew up being how they were. I think they grew into that. Perhaps being in a society that rewarded that. So that's all I have for you guys. Thank you for watching. I know this is like long to be the first video, but thank you for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.